Today I'm going to show you how we created this image starting from here. Let's get into it. This is an ambient base layer. It was like a 5-second exposure because it was pretty dark in the house. And because of that, there's a lot of haze coming from the left side. So we're going to have to do a lot to fix that. But first, I took a CPL filter, that's a circular polarizing filter, and made another base image, partly to reduce some of the glare like you see on the floor in this area. So with the filter turned, the image looks like this. Now, if I switch that into darken mode, it will just make things darker. So like that floor glare there gets reduced, and so does some of the other glares in other places around the image. So that's what we did first. Next up, we took a flash layer. So here's kind of the main flash. I'd made a YouTube short about this, and it's also on my Instagram if you want to check that out. Essentially, I had to the left a big giant umbrella with a flash pointing over from camera left to right. Over here, I had another flash kind of on this counter, bounced up off the ceiling. And then I had two flags. So back over here to the left was a curtain hung up to block a reflection that was causing some glare on the microwave. And then over here, there was another flag held up on a light stand, a big curtain, to block some of the reflection and glare from a window that was casting kind of just an ugly haze on the fridge over here. So that's how this shot was set up. And what I did was I took this flash layer and actually let's turn it at 100%. There's actually 100%. I blended it. So that was the full flash layer. And now here it is blended. So full flash and blended using a flambient action. So there's before and there's after. Now, I didn't like the shadows up here, so I just kind of painted those out. So there we go. And you can see this is kind of what I painted out up here. Now, next up, what do we have? There's a little bit of stuff going on over here that we wanted to fix. So just wanted to get rid of that glare. This was another flash pop. I think probably the flash on the right didn't go off on this one, so we just had a flash coming from left over here. But it helped me recover some of this fridge. So there we go. And if you noticed, right in this area here, there's a little hot spot. So I just kind of painted that out, and now that evens out a little bit. All right, now we have another flash shot. Let's bring this one back down. I think that was at 70% originally. Good. Cool. So we have another flash over in this area. Oops, before we get there, losing track. I got so many flashes. So this flash here was me behind the island, popping a flash pointed at the ceiling, and it made some nice kind of depth and shadows over here because I want your eye to be drawn more behind the island and not get stopped right here at the stools. So I blended in some of that and then erased basically most of the top of this. So if you see, all of the red is what's not showing. And there we go. So before and after, much better with the darker foreground. Your eye gets drawn to the back a little bit better. And then all this flash layer gets grouped together, and I'm going to put that at 70%. Now there's still a little bit of this haze over here, so I'm going to bring in some more of that flash, kind of like how I did before, just copied that same flash layer. And then we had some weird stuff going on this wall because there was no flash hitting it and it just kind of looks muddy. So we took another flash layer here and kind of just warmed up the temperature to make the wall color match a little bit better. And there we go. Now our wall looks a lot nicer. Then I went on to what I call my fixes layer, just getting rid of distractions. So the light switch, the canned lights, any outlets that might be showing, get rid of all of those with the fixes layer. And then I've got a colors folder here with lots of different color layers. So first up, you'll notice the counter is desaturated. So all the tile back here, and what I did there was just desaturated everything 50%. And you can see the areas that I selected to desaturate that. Next up, there was some red in the floor that I wanted to get rid of. So here we go, just selected the floor and desaturated the reds. How much did we go? About another 35 down on that. And then overall magenta desaturation. So magentas in the entire image go down 46. If you're curious where the magentas were, You can pull it up and see magenta's kind of in all the cabinets. So I just wanted to get rid of all of that. Then I wanted to warm up the ceiling. It was looking a little bit too white. So I made a warming filter with the layer adjustment that is down here, the photo filter right here. And that's going to be at 60% opacity. And the ceiling is a little bit warmer. The hood vent seemed like it had a little bit of green in it probably. So I took that down and just made a selection of just that hood vent, of course, minus the gold trim, and dropped that down another 60 or so on the saturation. Then I desaturated some blues. So let's find out where those were. That dropped down to -51. Again, not too much blue, but you can see a couple spots here with blue in it. So just drop that down. Probably did the same thing with cyans because it's pretty similar. So yeah, a little cyan in the plant there. And then desaturated the ceiling, which maybe I didn't need to warm it up after all. I don't know. Maybe I just undid my warming. And then finally, just a final pop. So this is a linear contrast curves adjustment layer. And there we have the final image. So this is a pretty complicated photo, a lot going on in camera with the filter and the flags and the flashes, but also a lot going on in editing. But this is a good look at how I approach a complicated image like this. And if you want to see more of how I do images and how I approach using Flash and other things to create my images for interiors and architecture, check out my workshop at adamtaylorphotos.com/workshops and join the lighting workshop.